Hey humans, how are you all doing today? My name is Aaron James, and I will be your speaker for this video. A few days ago, I went and saw one of my favorite comedians ever. He's easily in my top three, Jerrod Carmichael. Now, I've realized that some people actually haven't heard of him. Has two specials on HBO. He was in Transformers 5. He was in Neighbors. I don't know if he was in Neighbors 2. I don't remember at least. Had his own show. Very funny. And I'm pretty sure I think he's working on his third special. And it was such a great show. He has obviously matured. He continues to be vulnerable, and he continues to walk that line of discussing things that people are uncomfortable with while being lighthearted. Similar to Dave Chappelle, he brings up topics or subjects that maybe people do not speak about, at least not in public, and maybe says a joke about it, and he addresses issues with either side. You know, no matter what side you're on, there are some problems or things that people ignore. He still has a signature of building up to a joke by speaking very seriously and very low toned on a topic. So he was going into how his abuse as a child, and he goes into it just as if it's a therapy session, and then he'll hit you with the joke. And I really appreciate that. He's been a big influence on my writing and how I approach my writing, especially building up jokes. I'm just not as funny as him. I'm pretty sure he's helped on my approach with videos, as far as using it as an outlet and having that privilege to have an outlet to express my ideas and express how I feel, while at the same time keeping you all up to date with my life as we go along. He went into being gay in the South, being gay while being a part of a very religious family, being gay while being part of a very religious black family, being part of a religious black family in the South. And I think each of those are their own category, and still someone could potentially understand each aspect. Another thing I learned this past week or last week while going to the art show, which you guys saw, and to this comedy show, is that Atlanta is not a bump into or run into an event city. You really have to know people when you want to know about the, good events, and you can look up anywhere, you can look for posts, you could try to contact people, try to talk to people, but unless you know people, a lot of events aren't really marketed or advertised the way you would think, especially in a city like Atlanta. It was easy for me to find places in Virginia, it was easy for me to find places in Wyoming or Colorado, but when it came to Atlanta, I was looking for places. It was a bit more difficult than I thought, but I did understand because, people were getting sick, and it's cold outside, and the cold scares people down here. Honestly, the panorama part, I don't think really matters here in Atlanta, as we all know. That's that on that. I want to get back to talking about Jerrod Carmichael. Jerrod spent a lot of his set discussing his father, and it made me think of how I've been a bit reflective on that sense. Recently, I've been talking to friends, and I don't know if I've brought it up in videos, but I'm sure I have in my podcast, about reflecting on how I'm similar and different than my father and my parents in general. I believe that the idea that a lot of people end up dating someone who's very much like one of their parents, or potentially very different, and they themselves end up very much like their parents or very much different than their parents. Actually, speaking about this gives me ideas for a few videos that I'll do because I'll end up branching off into other topics and conversations, which kind of helps with these video ideas. But at the same time, I got to make sure not to go off on too much of a tangent to where the video just ends up being random topics. So until next time, y'all take care of each other, check up on one another, check up on yourself, and remember, potential has no limit. Actually, I'll give you guys a question that'll transition into that topic I will be discussing in a later video. And that question is, when will we admit that we are attracted to our parents?